Hello, welcome to Jewish Culture and Jewish Awareness. My name is Dustin Hausner. I'm the Jewish Outreach and Program Director at the Wayne YMCA. All our Jewish programs is funded through the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey. Now, today I have a wonderful guest that I'm really excited about, not just because she's a very nice person, but also because her work is interesting. She does a lot of work with children, which I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just leave it at that. And I would like to introduce Karen. Karen, it is so wonderful to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
So I'm pleased because I don't often get to say that I'm talking to someone who's an award-winning individual, which is kind of fantastic. You are an award-winning children's book author. You're a ventriloquist and a humorist. I believe I said that correctly, I hope.
Yep.
So before we dive into all the great work you do, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about what got you into this work.
Okay, well, actually, my mom told me all about you, and I've been looking up your videos, so I'm very excited to be here today. But I have to say that I really started writing when I was about 8. I used to live in Brooklyn, and in Brooklyn, we had 3-story apartment buildings, and I never had to worry about having a friend or someone to play with, because in Brooklyn, when you got home from school, you played with about 30, 40, 50 kids on a block. But then we moved to New Jersey, and my mom didn't know how to drive. I know you know my mom, but she didn't know how to drive then, because in Brooklyn, you don't need to know how to drive. You walk everywhere. So when we went to New Jersey, she didn't know how to drive. And in order to have friends in New Jersey, and if they don't live on your block, sometimes they're not close to you, and you have to either walk or get driven to your friend's house. And basically, we couldn't do that. So I just, started writing books then, and I started playing with puppets then. And my sister actually was 5 years younger than me. So when I was 8, she was 3. And I wanted to make everything talk for her, because I thought that everything has a voice. Eggs have a voice. Animals have a voice. Stuffed animals have a voice. Blankets and pillows. And so she grew up thinking that everything did have a voice. And that's probably why she didn't really like eating that much.
Oh.
But so so I started puppetry and ventriloquism back then. It's all self-taught. And I started writing when I was 8. And I used to actually write for my sister because I wanted to keep her busy, I guess. But I also wanted to keep myself busy. I used to make activity books for her, and they were called Karen's Books. I hope you like it.
Oh, that's adorable.
And so I had little icons for math. I had icons for English. Mm-hmm. I think I had Whirly for math and Twirly for English. They had little alien people, and each page was a section, like a math section, and there was a find the word section, and there was a crossword puzzle section, and since I liked getting mail, I used to give her mail. I think I even made her a mailbox, I'm not sure, but and it was due, at the end of the week. So
it's adorable. It sounds like you really gave a lot of love and care for these types of projects you do for.
Yeah, I love work. I always wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be an art teacher, but things changed, and I always wanted to be a writer since I was 8 and a ventriloquist. So now I'm doing both and I'm getting paid for it, but so that's always good.
So let me ask you, and I feel like this is no pun intended, the chicken and the egg question. Did you start as a ventriloquist? Did you start writing, these children's books? Did you start with comedy? So I know you mentioned just now about your family, but for the more external, like what started for you? How did it begin?
So the first thing that happened, I think, was I wanted to be an author. I thought I was going to be the next Pippi Longstocking sequel writer, until I found out that job was already taken. My father worked for Olivetti, and he used to bring home typewriters. So, I don't know, nobody knows about typewriters anymore, but back then you had to type with one finger. Sure. And you didn't see anything in advance. And when I was 8, I used to write things out on paper first, of course, and then type it in. And I remember one day my father brought home a typewriter that was so cool. It was electric. Okay. And it had this bar on the top where you can type in a whole line, mm-hmm. and then you can read it and then press enter. And then it went.
Oh, that is really cool.
So you didn't have to go back and, take that little piece of white thing and stick it in and make change. I actually got to see my whole sentence first before pressing enter. And that was the coolest thing in the world for me.
I was going to say, it's really nifty. So
yeah, that is. So I think I started writing first, and then because my sister was only 3, so I think the writing for her started, when she could actually write things back when she was 5, probably. And ventriloquism started when she was really little because I was trying to entertain her and, keep her busy.
So let me ask you, because you have written a variety of books, actually, children's books, Jewish and non-Jewish. So can you tell us a little bit about, the different types of books you've written? Do you have, I know it's a cliche, but, do you have any favorites? Tell us a little bit about the types of books you've written.
Okay. So, it was a lot easier to get into adult humor. Publishing company, they didn't want to take on any of my projects anymore unless I was going to go out like their other author, Jeff Foxworthy, and they wanted me to go on the road to do stand-up comedy. And I said, I don't want to do stand-up comedy. So I just want to sit in my nice house, my nice warm house. I don't really like traveling. I don't like taking the plane. So I couldn't do any more books with them. So then I started sending out my children's books, and it took 10 years, and I'll show you which one. This one, Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, got published first, but it took me 10 years, to get it published. And the only reason why it got published was because I went to a conference, and I actually met an editor there who took it. And she actually, at the same time, she also took this book, which is Food Fright. It's a pop-up book.
Very cute.
Isn't that cute? Yes. So this book went on to sell 250,000 copies. Awesome. And it's on a lot of award lists and stuff like that. It's out of print now, but that one, what happened was actually it started with this one. So in order to get into the conference, it wasn't first come, first serve. It was best on writing ability. So I sent in, this is before it was a book, I sent in my book Food Fright, which I thought was really good. But I had previously sent it to Dial Books for Young Readers, to an editor there back when you can send stuff. And so then when my friend said there was a conference coming up, the only thing I had really that I thought was really good was Food Fright. And I had already sent it to Dial Books for Young Readers, but I hadn't heard anything. So I'm like, I'll just send it. I mean, the chances of me getting into this conference is like, who knows? So I got into the conference, and then the night before the conference, I said to my friend Edna, I said, Edna, I'm not going. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're not going. I said, I'm not going to the conference because what if the editor that I sent it to at Dial Books for Young Readers is going to be the editor that I'm going to get matched up with at the conference?
Oh, I see.
She's like, Karen, she goes, that's never going to happen. 80 people are invited into the conference, and there are 80 mentors. Mm-hmm. So your chance is 1 in 80. And that's only if they're inviting the Dial Books for Young Readers editor. So, the chance was 1 in probably, I don't even know, 5,000 maybe, because first they had to get the right editor for me to not want to go, right? So, okay. So I was like, all right, Edna, I'll go. I said, but if I get to that conference and I open the folder, because you open the folder and you go down your list and your Karen Rostoker-Gruber is with, and you look. So I said, if I get that editor, I'm going to freak out. I was like, I'll be crazy. So she said, it's not going to happen. Okay. So we go to the conference, and this is a long story, and I get my folder, and of course I look, Karen Rostoker-Gruber, and I'm looking with my right hand, and I see the editor from Dial Books for Young Readers. No. So I said, Edna, look what happened. And she's like, Karen, what if she likes it?
That's a good point.
Now, I never thought of that part. So, and it dawned on me, what if she's right? Yeah. So I was like, all right, that's fine. So when you go to this conference, it's called the Rutgers University Council on Children's Literature. They still have it, and they match authors and illustrators up with who they think they're ready for. So I had to actually find the editor, because it's like, so 160 people plus are walking around trying to look at name tags and see who their person is, so I had to see who my editor, I had to find her.
Right.
So I found her and we sit down, and her name was also Karen, which was really weird. And so we sit down and she goes, Karen, I just read Food Fright.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, all right.
You can go one of two directions.
I know. So I'm thinking, oh no, oh no. And she goes, and I really liked it. So she goes, I hope you don't mind, but I passed it on to my friend Kelly at Price Stern Sloan.
There you go.
Okay. And she goes, do you have anything else? Now, you have to understand, you're not allowed, or they say you're not supposed to bring anything else with you to the conference. You're not supposed to give manuscripts to editors while you're walking around. But I did anyway. I brought Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo. Okay. So I brought this manuscript. She loved it. Of course, she made many changes, but that's how I started. And that's how I got into children's book writing.
Oh, that's fantastic. So
yeah, so that's actually the weird story.
No, but you know what? I feel like, especially in real life, strange things happen all the time. We don't like, they're great stories, and it's very interesting. So, but since then, you've written kind of a large variety of books. So I'm curious, is there specific subject themes you like particularly to talk about? Is there, like, what has guided you through all these different types of books?
So, well, you know what? There's a good segue to this one.
There we go.
Find it. So Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, it sold so well that they wanted me to write a second book. Okay. So I wrote Farmer Ted's Dinner Date. But the editor that I was matched up with left, and she put me in touch with another editor who wasn't feeling Farmer Ted's Dinner Date. She didn't like it that much. So 10 years went by, and I changed it to Farmer Kobe's Hanukkah Match.
Oh, okay.
So what I did was I completely changed the animals. So there was no more rooster. I put in a donkey instead. There were no more, there's no more cows. I changed it to, who's in it now? There's goats, geese, and sheep. And in Rooster Can't Cock-a-Doodle-Doo, there's cows, pigs, and sheep. And I didn't know this, which is really, well, I said it on the most famous Moshav in Israel, the Nahalal Moshav. And actually my cousins lived there. So what they did was they sent me pictures of what the Nahalal Moshav really looks like, because there are no Moshav books out there for children. Funny books. My stuff is always funny. So there's always puns. There's always like a joke at the end. And the big joke about Farmer Kobe's Hanukkah Match is that because I write for adults too. So the book has to be funny, or it's not, or no one's going to want to read it 50 million times. So I write on 3 levels. I write for the children, I write for the adults, and I also write for, anybody else that wants to hear my stuff. But so the main thing about Farmer Kobe is he falls in love with this woman named Polly Esther. So her first name is Polly and her last name is Esther. So she turns out to not like animals at all. And so the sheep say that, her name is Polly Esther, she's a fake, fake, like that. So, and, because the sheep have wool, you get it. Anyway, so that was the big joke in Farmer Kobe's Hanukkah Match that I wanted to get into a book. And there's just a lot of humor in my books. And also they always say, write what you know. Sure. So this book, actually Bandit, is about a cat moving to a new house. And because I moved and I know exactly how it feels, I had the cat go through what I went through when I was 8.
Yeah.
So, it's stuff like that. I have a whole bunch of books. This is Bandit Surprise. It's about sibling rivalry. It's about Bandit there's a new kitten.
Right.
Not very happy about that. And then, because you always have to write something about something that happens in your life. So Ferret Fun, I wrote because my daughter said to me, Mom, how come you don't write anything about our ferret, Bandit, which is a long story why his name is Bandit. But, and I said, Michelle, something has to happen for me to write about our ferret. I can't just write a book, something has to happen. So, I kept writing about cats and frogs and, whatever I write about, monsters, ghouls and witches and ghosts and roosters and donkeys. And one day we were going to Disney World, and we had to take the ferret to the vet.
Okay.
And we went to the vet with our ferret in a little travel cage, and I set it down on the floor, and Sammy, this cat that sort of thinks it owns the vet's place.
Sure.
Walking, yeah, you know how cats are, was walking around the cage, looking at the ferret. And I don't think it really knew what it was. Like, was it a rat? Was it a dog? Was it another cat? What was this thing in the cage? And I thought on the way on the plane, on the way to Disney, I wrote Ferret Fun. And it's really about what I thought happened at the vet. So, you set your cage down, and of course you have to make your nasty, nasty animals that are bullies. And in this one case, when we set the cage down, this is what I thought Sammy said, but my daughter changed it to Marvel.
Okay.
Andrea set Marvel down on the rug. What are you two? You're not cats. I know cats. You're not dogs. I know dogs. Are you rats? I love tasty. I mean, I love rats. So it's that kind of stuff, I
was gonna say, I can tell you've read this story at least once or twice before.
Oh yeah, actually this morning again, and probably every day this week for other school visits. And then I wrote a sequel because that one sold really well. They wanted me. This is about the ferrets going on vacation, and of course one ferret likes to try new things and the other ferret does not. And then I wrote Maddie the Mitzvah Clown.
Very cute. I like the concept.
Yeah, because one of my editors said, "Can you write a story about visiting the sick?" And I said, "Okay." So I did. So little Maddie, who's shy, wants to talk to grandma and her friends at the nursing home, but she is so shy that a mitzvah clown, a real mitzvah clown, comes in and starts making balloon animals and doing stuff like that. And she decides that she wants to be a mitzvah clown because she can be undercover then. Be Maddie anymore. She'll now be somebody else. And she was then able to, of course, talk to grandma and her friends. And then I just wrote, this one just came out in October. This is my new one, A Crowded Farmhouse Folktale. And my mom and my dad are in it.
Aw, wonderful.
Starts out, Farmer Earl and his wife Marge, too many children to mention. So, and then I wrote this one for Tu B'Shvat called Happy Birthday Trees. And, so that's basically writing in a nutshell, I guess you can say.
So before I have quite a few other questions, but as someone who is a fan of ventriloquism in the sense of watching, I've tried doing it. I'm awful at it, but I respect the living daylights. I have someone who can do it because it is an art form. It is very skill set. I think it's one of those things that you look at it and go, oh, I could do that. And then,
I could do that.
Right. But then when you actually try doing it, because it's not only the sound, it's the manipulation of the different sounds, it's the mouth, there's just a lot of work that goes into it. You are a gifted ventriloquist. So do you happen to have any of your puppet friends with you?
I do. So the thing I want to tell you about ventriloquism also is that you're sort of becoming the other character. So I never know what the other characters are ever going to say. It just sort of comes out. I don't practice anything. It just, we just sort of, the character that I have, I'll show you Frog. So Frog just says whatever Frog wants to say. Okay. And it's just, so when you're a ventriloquist though, you sort of have like a sidekick. I'll show you.
Yeah, please. I'm very excited to meet.
Let me just get Frog. He's hibernating. So that's Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hi, Frog. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
I wonder how you got your name. I don't know.
It's a good question. So how are you doing, Frog?
I think I look like a frog. You are a frog. Oh, yeah. Now, Frog has an F. And what does that stand for, Frog? Freedom, Frog, Family Haggadah. There you go.
I like it.
You see it?
Oh, that's good. That's beautiful. I love it.
It's gold, Justin.
I believe you. I believe you. It looks fantastic. So, you are someone of great style, and I appreciate that.
I'm a rapping frog.
Oh, that's pretty fantastic. So that's a skill I'm not very good at, but I believe you are definitely skilled in that.
But we can, we're going to do a Passover show for Dustin.
Oh, right now?
No, not right now.
What
day is it?
March. Yeah, it's March. Yeah, it's gonna be near the end of March. So anyone who's interested, we'll definitely put up the information on the.
Yeah, so you have to practice, Frog.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I can do it.
You can? Are you going to be done hibernating by then?
Oh sure.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest in hibernation. I know it's going to be an incredible show with you, Frog. I cannot wait.
Yeah, there's lots of mud.
Oh, because of the snow?
Yeah. It's icky right now.
To hibernate?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope you're able to have it nice and clean and have a great rest and relaxation. But it's so nice to meet you, Frog.
Yeah, take care, Dustin. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye, buddy. It was so nice meeting Frog.
So that's Frog.
Yes, and I believe you have actually a Haggadah that it has to do with Frog.
Yes, so Frog, let's see, Frog is the star in the family Haggadah. And so what happened with this one was, this is actually the most fun thing I've ever worked on, if that's even like a word. So the rabbi had to write the Haggadah because it has all the prayers, it has all the songs, it has everything our traditional Haggadah has. I'll show you some of the pages.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I was able to do anything I wanted with Frog, like have him jump through pages, have him jump away from the Pharaoh's army and eat a locust. Oh. So here, okay. So in here, when you're looking for the chametz, he says, wait, I found a piece of toast. Get it?
That's very
great. Let's see, I want to show you some other ones. Yeah. Here. So here we're talking about the things on the Seder plate, the symbols on the Seder plate. Mm-hmm. And I have Frog saying, can a crocus flower be a symbol on the Seder plate?
Oh, that's very cute. I like that.
Crocus.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're also learning things too. Can we change the Seder of the Seder and sing first? And then when you're doing the washing of the hands.
That's adorable.
He says, did someone say wash? And now he's in a tub. I had to tell him to do all of that. So that was really fun.
Yeah. No,
I want to show you where he's running away from Pharaoh. Here. Well, here. They're telling the story of Passover, and then Frog was distracted because he ate a locust. So it was really fun.
No, that's an adorable interactive book. That's really, really cute. I love it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, and again, as was mentioned, you're going to do a wonderful Passover performance with the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey near the end of March. We'll have information in the description, but so you have done programming, obviously with schools and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, what was pre-COVID work and life for you, and now COVID? Are you still able to do programs? Have you had to modify a lot of it? Because I'm just thinking of ventriloquism, having a live audience versus a Zoom audience. So I'm very curious to hear about your experiences.
So yeah, and I'll take this morning, for example. So throughout Read Across America, which is March, usually I'm getting up really early at like 4 o'clock in the morning, packing up my stuff, driving to a school, getting lost, setting up, and doing 3 shows and going home. So today I had a show at 10 o'clock. I put on a nice shirt and my yoga pants, and I walked down the hall and I opened up my computer. I got myself ready, and we had a Zoom show. It's much cheaper. I can't even tell you, it's so much cheaper for the schools to have me on Zoom. The only thing is that there's no, like when I usually do a live show, there's a lot of give and take. It's very interactive. I ask the kids questions, and there's, we call on somebody, the kids come up, we do stuff. Here, it's like I'm doing stand-up comedy, which is what I was supposed to be doing before, and there's no live audience. So thank goodness I have my puppets, because they became almost like I'm asking them the questions and they're answering.
Right.
Otherwise, I would just have to do, usual stuff. And I don't like doing usual stuff. I like to make people laugh. So, like I'll say, I'll put a picture of myself up when I was 8, and I used to say to the audience, the children, the students, I'd say, how old do you think I am here? Maria is my other puppet. And she'd say 362. And I'd say, no, lower. And she'd go 362. And then I'd say, does anybody know how old I am here? And all the raise your hands, and I would call on people. So now it's just basically, I'm asking Maria, my other puppet, and she answers, because we don't have that kind of time.
Yeah. Have you been able to, I'm more curious, when you do like a Zoom version of it, like not necessarily a webinar, but a Zoom, have you found that there's at least some sort of participation with the group, or is it kind of up in the air with that?
You kind of can't, because once you unmute the kids, it gets really weird. And all these sounds, and a lot of the kids are home. So the parents are walking by and people are cooking and the dogs are there. And you really have to keep everybody on mute. That's the only problem. Unless they could totally and completely promise that once they answer, they go back on mute.
Right, or you have someone in control in the back room.
Right, which is why I use the puppets now, because I sort of can control what they say.
Well, Frog seems delightful. And of course, I've seen, not in this interview, but if anyone goes onto the website, we can get an introduction to your other.
Yeah, Maria. Maria goes, so Frog is just for my Jewish stuff.
Okay.
And Maria is for everything else.
Since we're talking about the website, for those who are curious about your programs and obviously about your books, because you showed a wonderful variety of different books, where are the best places for people to find you?
Okay, so I have a website that has all of my books on there, and each book has an activity that they can download for free. There's also Frog videos on my website. There's just tons of stuff. And also, if you want to learn how to get published, I also do a tutorial. It's a live tutorial where they can actually see me on a 3-part video, or if they're not into visually learning, I have each step that you can take also on my website under I think it's under about the author, I'm not sure, but it's every step from query letter and cover letter to sending out your manuscripts to the format. And I even have charts to download for them as well. So, because I used to teach at Rainier Valley Community College how to get published.
And what is the website for those who don't know?
So it's www. And it's really long, Karen, Karen Rostoker, Rostoker dash, like your hyphenating last name, Gruber, GRUBER.com.
Fantastic. And we'll put in the description as well, so people can access it through that.
That'd be great.
So wonderful. So before we start closing up, I'm curious, do you have any particular hopes that, knock on wood, vaccines come soon, we'll be able to do live performances soon? Do you have anything you're currently working on? Or, I know you have the new book that just came out.
Right.
I want to look that up, but just do you have anything coming up or that you're hoping to do in the future?
Well, I'm just hoping always that editors are going to call me and ask me to buy my next book. But I have someone to say hi. This is Dr. Fauci. Hello.
I did not expect to meet.
He wants to know if you got your vaccine yet.
I wish, Dr. Fauci. It's very difficult.
So I didn't. Why? I'm not on the list yet, Dr. Fauci, but my mother and father did. Oh, good. So he's going to leave. But yeah, I'm always hoping that an editor is going to email me, call me, whenever, just to tell me that they want to publish my other book or other books. I have a lot of manuscripts in my drawer.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I want to obviously thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Obviously, you have a beautiful variety of books. Congratulations on obviously being an award-winning author.
Thank you.
Obviously, you're a very talented ventriloquist, humorist. I am going to look up some of those original books that you have, pre-children's books.
Right.
Very, very funny. But I want to wish everyone who's watching to stay healthy, stay well. Karen, thank you so much for taking time. And yes, your new book.
And that's my book.
So fantastic, A Crowd of Farmhouse. So have a wonderful.
So thank you very much, Dustin. It was a pleasure to be on the show.
No, an absolute pleasure to have you. So have a wonderful.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.